On News Hour tonight. President Tinubu nominates CG Musa as new defense minister. Fire disaster kills family of 5, destroys properties worth millions in Katsina. Adeleke orders arrest of suspected Makinde loyalist as Osun PDP crisis deepens. And on the foreign scene, Sudanese army refutes claim RSF has seized key city of Musa. Hello, good evening and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. General CG Musa retired has over the last, I beg your pardon, I'll take that story again. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has nominated General Christopher Gwabin Musa as the new Minister of Defense. In a letter to Senate President Godswill Akpabio, President Tinubu conveyed General Musa's nomination as a successor to Muhammad Badr Abubakar, who resigned on Monday. General Musa, 58, served as Chief of Defense Staff from 2023 until October 2025. He won the Colin Powell Award for soldiering in 2012. A statement from the Special Advisor to the President, Information and Strategy, Bayo Nanuga, said President Tinubu in the letter to the Senate expressed confidence in General Musa's ability to lead the Ministry of Defense and further strengthen Nigeria's security architecture. General CG Musa, retired, has over the last 2 years as CDS made tough statements on Nigeria's insecurity that earned him respect from servicemen and many Nigerians. His comments often called out rising threats and pushed for stronger action. With his nomination as Minister of Defense, we take a quick look at some of the views he shared during his term in service.
The community or any infrastructure you are protecting is being destroyed and you have no other means of stopping them, you are allowed to fire. So do not be afraid to take out any criminal or any enemy that is destroying or is doing any acts of killing. Is that clear? Yes, sir. But like I've told you, the communities you are protecting must know that you are there to protect them, not to go there and infringe on their human rights.
Anybody who comes to theater and finishes without killing one Boko Haram is not complete. So you must make sure before you go, no be so? That's the only way we can finish them. Look for them. They should not be looking for us, we should be looking for them.
Border management is very critical. I've had countries, because of the level of insecurity they had to fence their borders. I know sometimes when you mention, people say, no, it's not, it's impossible. Pakistan fenced 1,350-kilometer border with Afghanistan. That was the only time they had peace. The community or any...
Now, joining us to discuss the implication of CG Musa's nomination is Daily Trust Deputy Editorial Director. Good evening and thank you for joining us on the News Hour.
Thank you, Dorcas. I'm happy to be here.
All right. There seems to be public support for the president. Why is that?
Probably because Nigerians are tired. They feel having someone with military background will give a sense of belonging, especially to the troops. And historically, when you look at many countries, they do have ministers of defense with military background. Even the current minister of defense in the US, that is, of course, he is also a military personnel. When you come to Africa, Egypt, and all others, they do have that. But the truth is that is not a guarantee that simply because you have military background that you will deliver. It takes a lot more, especially political commitment from the commander-in-chief. So whatever General Musa could not do when he served as Chief of Defense Staff, when he served as theater commander in Borno, when he served as commander of the Infantry Corps, which controls over 70% of the troops that you have, if he did not get the requisite support from the Federal Executive Council and by extension from the President, the likelihood is that he will not succeed.
Now, what are sources saying regarding why he's been returned after leaving office as CDS just weeks ago?
That's a matter of conjecture because, of course, we discussed with people from across the divide. You know, when he was removed, it was in the wake of the alleged coup attempt in Nigeria. And some school of thought said that he was ineffectual that time. That was why he was removed and the others were returned. But looking at what happened, you can see clearly that theory has been demystified or debunked by the president, because if there were allegations that he didn't do much to protect the president, why bringing him back now? So this left a lot of questions, but then, of course, others believe that he has a track record. As I said, you know, he was in Maiduguri, that is northeast, where he served as the, theater commander. And I know, because I also worked there, he deployed both kinetic and non-kinetic approach. It is on record that no theater commander actually brought out people from maybe Sambisa Forest, Alagarno, you know, the Timbus, you know, in the northern part of Borno, liberated them, including some insurgents who repented, and he brought them back.
Infrastructure you are protecting is being destroyed.
I don't really want to mention, he also led to the killing of many, insurgents in the theater of war. And then when he came to Abuja, clearly nobody can take that away from him. He was able to bring together the services. I'm talking about the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. You know, there was no rancor. You rarely hear of this misunderstanding among them. So some people believe that Tinubu's choice of General Musa is actually deliberate, because it wasn't long when he left the service. The service chiefs that we have now all served under him. They understand what he wants. Now he will serve like a bridge between the political elite and the military, because when he speaks, for instance, at the Federal Executive Council meeting, they will respect him because they know that he has the experience, he has the knowledge. And then when he gets back to the Defense House, when he calls the service chiefs, they will listen to him because they are his genius and they know what he can achieve.
All right. Now, we understand that Badaru's resignation and CG Musa's nomination is part of a compromise with America on Christian genocide. What can you tell us about that?
Honestly, we spoke with credible sources. They say it was a domestic decision, especially the removal of Badaru or his resignation, whichever one you take, because there are some people who said he actually resigned at his own volition because some of the things that are happening, do not resonate with his expectation. But the larger group believe that it is the president who asked him to take a bow. And when you look at the trajectory of the president over time, he has set examples which will now give credence to what happened. A number of people who he asked to take a bow. You understand? So there are some ministers or heads of agencies, for one reason or the other, you will just see them, resigning. And it's not usual in Nigeria. Very, very difficult. Political appointees, they are fixated. They love, no matter the controversy, they want to remain there. But you can see the president, these days, he will just call somebody and ask, please take a bow. And then the person will move on, then he will bring another one. So some of the sources we spoke with, they said this decision, US President Trump did not say go and pick Christopher Musa. What the president of the United States said is that, look, put your house in order so that you will address the teething security challenges that is actually bringing the country down. So, but that is it about this. Sources said it wasn't at the instance of President Trump.
All right, so what about Matawale? What is his future in this government?
A very tough question, because of course some people are saying at initial, the US legislators who actually raised the alarm, they wanted Matawalle out because they felt that he, in one way or the other, he's not doing much because he served as governor of Zamfara State. During his time, the insecurity was there, and then even after he became Minister of State for Defense, in fact, the trouble escalated. And I don't want to say it, but they allege that he has sympathies. The definition of sympathies is left for those who, made the allegation. But people are saying that there is the likelihood that he too might not really last long, citing the misalignment, because when CDS Musa was the chief of defense, he was answerable to Matawalle, being a minister. By the convention, minister is higher in rank than any of the service chiefs or even the overall head, who is the CDS. He saluted him and all that. But who can tell? God have his ways. He can elevate any other person. It's about, commitment. It's about dedication, and it's about having a goal that you want to achieve. If the minister is retained, because some people believe that he is very, very close to Tinubu, more than the way Badaru is to Tinubu, because, he served as Tinubu's campaign director for the Northwest during the election. He did a lot. He used the instrument at his disposal to support the president. But putting that aside, only time can tell whether the president will retain him or he will ask him to leave, or he will replace him and put him in another ministry.
All right, thank you very much, Hamza Idris, Deputy Editorial Director, Media Trust. Thank you for joining us and for giving us your great analysis.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to more stories. Amid rising national security challenges, the Nigerian Senate has announced a major reshuffle of its standing committees, fulfilling a promise to strengthen oversight and improve responses to security threats. The chairman of the committee and president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, made this known during Tuesday's plenary session on the floor of the Red Chamber. The report.
In the new arrangement, Senator Yahaya Abdullahi of Kebbi State has been named chairman of the Senate Committee on National Security and Intelligence. He moves from his previous role as chairman of the Committee on National Planning. Meanwhile, the Committee on Livestock and Animal Husbandry has been restructured, with Senator Shehu Buba of Bauchi State appointed as its new chairman after being removed last week as chairman of the National Security and Intelligence Committee. Additionally, changes were made to the Senate Committee on Air Force, with the Senate Minority Whip, Senator Ositangu of Enugu State, assuming the role of acting chairman.
On selection, met and the new chairman of the Senate Committee on Livestock and Animal Husbandry is the distinguished Senator Shehu Boba, and the committee chairman on National Intelligence and National Security is the distinguished Senator Abdullahi Yahaya, CON. Then we have acting chairman on Committee on Air Force, distinguished Senator Ositangu. The committee chairman on national planning will be distinguished Senator Mustafa.
Senate leadership emphasized that this reconstitution aims to enhance its capacity to oversee national security matters more effectively amid the evolving security landscape. Meanwhile, the Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin will lead a delegation of the Senate to pay condolence visit to the family of Sheikh Dahiru Usman Bauchi, the people and the government of Bauchi State over the demise of the Islamic cleric. Delegation will also pay respect to the people and government of Bauchi State following the passing of the revered Islamic cleric. During plenary, the Senate observed a minute of silence in honor of the frontline religious leader, marking the nation's collective mourning. These resolutions were reached after the Senate considered and adopted a motion on the cleric's demise, sponsored by Senator Shehu Buba of Bauchi South.
The Senate notes that on the 27th November 2025, Nigeria lost one of its most eminent Islamic scholars, a spiritual bridge builder, a moral compass, and a revered father figure, Sheikh Tahir Usman Bauchi, OFR, whose passing has left a deep void in religious scholarship and national moral guidance. Observe that he lived a life of
Senator Bedoki.
Notes that Sheikh Tahir Bauchi was blessed with 100 children, 50 males and 50 females, among whom 48 fully memorized the Holy Quran, 42 males and 42 females.
Sheikh Tahir Bauchi was indeed a renowned Islamic scholar who imparted Islamic knowledge on thousands of Nigerians. Someone who maintained the highest moral standard you can think of as a human being, who devoted his life to humanity, not only Muslims, but to even Christians. He became a bridge builder, uniting Muslims and Christians at all times. So kind-hearted that he took care of thousands of kids whose parents were not there to help them. May the soul of late Sheikh Tahir Usman Bauchi rest in perfect peace. May he rest permanently in Al-Jannah Firdausi.
This visit reflects the Senate's recognition of the late Sheikh Tahir Bauchi's profound impact on both the religious and wider communities.
Now, the House of Representatives is gearing up for a decisive moment in Nigeria's legislative history as lawmakers will begin debates ahead of a clause-by-clause vote on the sixth alteration to the 1999 Constitution. This marks the end of months of intensive work by Special Committee on Constitution Review. The report.
The committee has officially completed its assignment, and deliberations on each amendment bill are scheduled for the next legislative sitting.
The Constitution will start from tomorrow. After we finish our consideration of report, because the other paper is going to be light, we'll start debate on the Constitution.
In the meantime, the House is turning its focus on financial accountability as members have resolved to trace the 30 billion naira recovered and linked to the National Social Investment Program Agency, NSIPA. The program was created to support vulnerable Nigerians and address unemployment, inequality, and poverty. Yet, many citizens say they have not seen the intended impact. Niger State lawmaker Saidu Abdullahi therefore called for the creation of an ad hoc committee to follow the trail of the recovered funds.
Credible sources have indicated that this recovered funds estimated at over 30 billion have not been remitted into a SIPA's designated treasury single account, thereby stalling program implementation and leaving millions of intended beneficiaries without the social and economic support envisioned by the federal government.
Security concerns also dominated plenary discussions as lawmakers from communities ravaged by banditry demanded immediate government intervention to protect lives and restore safety.
Alarmed that during this deadly attack, there was no security presence to defend the community, leaving innocent citizens at the complete mercy of the assailants. Deeply concerned that security deployment across the country remains heavily concentrated in urban centers.
Call in the Inspector General of Police to expedite the payment of statutory entitlements and insurance benefits and to ensure full medical care for the injured officers. Number 5, task the Director General DSS and the Inspector General of Police to see to the immediate arrest and prosecution of all individuals involved in the ambush.
With voting on constitutional amendment drawing closer, women advocacy groups are stepping up efforts to secure lawmakers' support. A gender desk created by the Speaker is actively engaging members around the chamber. lobbying for crucial last-minute votes.
We are trying to do is to promote inclusive governance. When you have 50% of your population out of decision-making processes, it's something that we need to reverse. And so what we are here to do is to support this reserved seat bill, which is practically promotes, it's not taking away from the men, it's additional seats.
Our expectations are that the bill will pass, and this is history right here, because in 2022, the bills were thrown out. They asked us, if we ever lobbied, and today we can see that at least we're able to show that we can lobby, we're engaging, we are dialoguing, and it's a real excitement to be here.
We're going to get the yes votes. So the desk was just set up to, just to enlighten members about the content of the bill. We realized that a lot of members do not even have idea of what is in the bill. Some are, talking about their seats being taken, which is not the case, So we have to enlighten them every day, tell them that this bill does not take away your seat, it creates an additional seat.
As the countdown continues towards the historic constitutional vote, the House faces a packed agenda, from tightening oversight on public funds to responding to pressing security threats and strengthening gender representation. All eyes now turn to the upcoming legislative sessions, where key decisions shaping Nigeria's future will be made. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives Public Accounts Committee has ordered a forensic audit of the midstream and downstream gas infrastructure fund managed by the NMDPRA following allegations of mismanagement since 2021. The decision was adopted during a session chaired by Honorable Bamidele Salam after a motion by Honorable Siriashis Umeha and seconded by Honorable Kafilat Ogbara. Lawmakers cited provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act, which established the fund and requires a 0.5% levy on petroleum and gas transactions, with remittances due within 21 days. The House has now directed the Auditor General of the Federation to carry out a full forensic audit of all funds collected since 2021 and report back within 60 days.
On the 26th of August 2025, the reminder letter was sent to the authority chief executive of the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulation Authority, receiving the office of the 27th of August 2025, asking again that they submit copies on the collection and utilization of the 0.1% funds that are meant for development of gas infrastructure.
The committee expressed concern that the NMDPRA failed to submit requested documents and ignored multiple invitations to explain the fund's administration.
Now, residents and authorities in Kano Metropolis have expressed concern over the recent infiltration of unknown individuals allegedly operating commercial motorcycles in the city. In response, the state government has reiterated its strict enforcement of the ban on passenger conveyance by motorcycles across 8 metropolitan local government areas. It also reaffirmed that tricycle operations remain prohibited between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. in 9 local governments in the metropolis. Trust TV's Abdulaziz Ibrahim completes the report.
According to the Kano State Police Command, the enforcement aims to enhance public safety and curb rising criminal activities. Commercial motorcycles remain banned in 8 metropolitan local government areas, while tricycles, popularly known as Adedita Sahu, are restricted from operating between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. daily. The state government says it is particularly concerned about the recent infiltration of unknown individuals operating motorcycles commercially in violation of the law.
Unknown men are actually been seen, and they're actually the one now using motorcycles as a commercial vehicle. So I think Mr. Government is actually not happy with the development because it is falling straight. It's quite really constituting a serious threat to the security, peace, and stability, and that is why the state government decided to make that statement.
The government maintains that the Motorcycle Riding and Related Activities Law of 2013 remains in full effect, adding that offenders risk 6 months imprisonment, a fine of 10,000 naira, and forfeiture of their motorcycles. Residents say they welcome the enforcement despite transportation challenges in the state, noting that safety must come first.
Ni bana goyon bayan haka saboda yana kawo matsalolin tsaro. Yanayin da zaka ganin mutane masu
I don't support the operation of commercial motorcycles because of how it contributes to security challenges. They operate everywhere and the way they move, especially at night, makes me uncomfortable. I want the government to look into the matter thoroughly and do what is best for Kano. Sincerely, I don't support motorcycles. We remember they were banned due to insecurity. After the ban, there was some relief, so I don't see why they should return. Yes, motorcycles are returning to operation in Kano, but they were banned for a reason. The government must take action. Even if we need another mode of transport to ease challenges, it should not be the Achaba bikes, because we remember even the number of accidents they caused in those days. The government insists that in local government areas where motorcycles are permitted, riders must register with the ward head, the local government works department, and the divisional police officer. Meanwhile, security agencies, including Karota, have been directed to intensify surveillance to ensure full compliance. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now, 3 officials from the office of Abia State Governor Alex Oti were attacked by unidentified gunmen on Tuesday in Owerri, the capital of Imo State. The incident took place a few kilometers from Sam Mbakwe Airport. The assailants, believed to be fleeing gunmen, opened fire on the vehicle transporting the governor's aides near the airport corridor. In a statement on Tuesday, the chief press secretary to Governor Oti, Njoku Ukoha, clarified that the officials targeted were part of an advance team and not the governor's convoy. It added that Governor Oti was not involved in the incident, adding that no lives were lost. Now, at least 3 people were reportedly killed and 5 others injured in Chakfem community of Mongu local government area of Plateau State. According to the national president of Mogavul Development Association, Bulus Dabit, who confirmed the incident on Tuesday, the assailants stormed the community around 3 a.m. on Sunday and started shooting sporadically. He said those injured are currently receiving treatment at various hospitals. Dabit described the incident as an act of criminality that should not be tolerated anywhere. He further explained that the gunmen rustled over 40 cattle belonging to members of the community. The national president called on security agencies in the state to increase security surveillance to prevent further attacks in the area. The spokesperson for Operation Enduring Peace, Major Samson Zakom, has yet to comment on the attack when contacted by our correspondent. And the governor of Borno State has urged Muslim and Christian leaders to discourage messages that could undermine religious tolerance and peaceful coexistence in the state. Governor Babagana Zulum made the appeal during a meeting with the leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, and Jama'at al-Nasr Islam, JNI, at the government house in Maiduguri. He noted that although the Muslim community suffered the highest number of deaths, abductions, and displacements during the insurgency, it also shares in the grief experienced by people of other faiths. The governor added that his administration has so far reconstructed 45 Christian worship centers with plans to rehabilitate more. Governor Zulum called on the international community to continue supporting Nigeria's military in the fight against terrorism and to help address the root causes of insurgency, including poverty, illiteracy, hunger, and unemployment.
I call upon you, revered faiths leaders, to preach peace from your members during the Jumu'ah prayers and on your pulpits on the service days. Let your messages be that of unity, tolerance, and our shared values of love, compassion, and justice. I urge all of us to actively speak against any voice, within or without, that seeks to divide us along religious lines. Let us encourage dialogue among our congregations and build bridges at every opportunity. The path ahead is one of rebuilding, not just of bricks and mortar, but of bonds and brotherhood. Let us work with faith together, hand in hand, faith in faith.
Babu shakka irin bayanansa da ya yi daman muna kansu muna yi.
I commend your proactive leadership in enhancing security and development in our dear state. Your decision to engage us in dialogue shows that this is truly an inclusive government. As leaders of the Islamic community, we remain committed to peace and ready to partner with you and other faith groups for the progress and stability of Borno State.
Haka wannan bawan Allah da ya tashi tsaye ya ga cewa da an samu zaman lafiya. The religious leaders in every governance serve as a mirror for leadership. Because of our prophetic call as clerics, probably we are the only ones who can speak truth to power and tell you things as they are. And so this journey that we have started, not just today, we have been meeting with my brothers at different fora. But at least you are convening us today and your speech, if it is realized, then I think Borno is going to be the most peaceful state in Nigeria. And that is my prayer.
Now, tension gripped Ongwanungu community in Bokana ward of Sanga local government area of Kaduna State after gunmen on Saturday abducted 11 residents while they were returning from their farms. According to residents, the victims were intercepted along a bush path near the community in the evening and whisked away to an unknown location. The incident sparked panic in surrounding villages, with many families spending the night in fear and uncertainty over the fate of their loved ones. A resident who preferred anonymity said some of those abducted were teenagers collecting beans on the farm when the attackers struck. Confirming the incident in a statement on Tuesday, the member representing Jama'a Sanga Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Daniel Amos, described the abduction as cruel and senseless and condemned the targeting of innocent and hardworking villagers. He also called on security agencies to intensify efforts to rescue the victims and bring the perpetrators to justice. There was no immediate police response as at press time. Now, Justice Muhammad Umar of the Abuja Federal High Court on Tuesday granted Omoyele Sowore bail on self-recognition, cautioning him to refrain from making utterances that could incite the public against President Tinubu. Showore's bail followed his arraignment by the Department of State Services, DSS, before the court on a 5-count charge bordering on alleged cybercrime. In the 5-count charge, Showore is accused of allegedly making derogatory remarks about President Tinubu on his social media handles. Showore, who is the convener of the Revolution Now movement, pleaded not guilty to the charges after they were read to him. In a short ruling, Justice Umar held that the objection on jurisdiction was not ready for hearing because the prosecution was served that morning, arguing that the defendant needed to give them adequate time to file a counter affidavit. He then directed that the charges be read to the defendant. After Showore pleaded not guilty, his counsel applied for bail on self-recognition. The prosecution opposed the application, arguing that Showore posed a flight risk. Justice Umar, in ruling on the bail request, granted Showore bail on self-recognition and adjourned the matter to January 19, 2026 for trial. This is News Hour on Trust TV, coming up after the break. International Press Institute, IPI Nigeria, urges need to address rise in media repression in Nigeria. This and many more when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back from the break. In case you just joined in, this is News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. We told you that President Tinubu nominates CG Musa as new defense minister. And fire disaster kills family of 5, destroys properties worth millions in Katsina. And moving on to more stories, the International Press Institute IPI Nigeria has held its 2025 annual conference and general meeting in Abuja with a strong focus on the need to address the rise in media repression and the critical role of journalism in protecting Nigeria's democracy. The conference brought together journalists, government officials, and international media advocates to explore strategies for strengthening press freedom and enhancing democratic accountability in the country. The report.
IPI Nigeria President Mojid Musikilu described the gathering as a critical moment of sober reflection, stressing the urgent responsibility journalists carry in a climate where press freedom continues to face pressure.
Investigative journalists face targeted intimidation. We recall the harrowing experience of a colleague, Sheikh Olatunji, who was abducted, blindfolded, chained, and transported hundreds of kilometers away from his base for a controversial report. Online reporters are now frequent victims of cybercrime accusations. The cybercrime law, despite recent amendments, continues to be used to suppress digital journalism. Several journalists have been arrested or prosecuted under this legislation.
Among the keynote attendees was Vice President Kashim Shettima, who praised Nigerian journalists as some of the best minds in the country, commending their resilience, professionalism, and strong work ethics.
If our collective experience has taught us anything, it is this: not a single practitioner lacks in education without a sense of ethical responsibility. The pen is only mightier than its sword when it is deployed in the pursuit of justice and objectivity. Without ethics, journalism becomes nothing more than a dictatorship of text and airwaves, a distortion camera where truth is suffocated by dangerous agendas.
The IPI Global Community Network Secretariat also expressed solidarity with the Nigerian chapter, noting the organization's more than 7-decade-long commitment to defending press freedom around the world.
We are in a moment of immense global change in geopolitics, technology, and society, and so this cannot be a more important moment to come together to strengthen the independent journalism we need to navigate these changes and help protect media freedom as a cornerstone of democratic society.
Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to upholding press freedom, saying the administration would continue engaging media stakeholders to create a safe and enabling environment for journalism to thrive.
Demonstrates our strength to resolve to protect both social harmony and press from the corrosive effects of disinformation. Our approach, however, is not a retreat into control, but to engage through dialogue and build proactive solutions. It is in this spirit that I'm proud to announce a major step forward for Nigeria.
The conference ended with the unveiling of the IPI Book of Honor and Accountability, a document designed to spotlight incidents of media repression while promoting ethical journalism. Outstanding journalists were also honored with awards for courage and integrity in defending press freedom. Tanti Azar, Trust TV, Abuja.
And now, on a sad note, an early morning fire on Monday killed an entire family of 5 and destroyed property worth millions of naira in the Katsina metropolis. The victims, 35-year-old Muhammad Habibu, his wife Fatima Muhammad, and their 3 children, Khadija, Abubakar, and Aliyu, were all burnt to death. It was gathered that Muhammad Habibu was a casual staff member at the Katsina State Water Board until his death. Trust TV's Abdullahi Yamadi completes the report.
Although the exact cause of the fire is yet to be determined, residents suspect it was triggered by a voltage surge when electricity was restored to the area. Reports indicate that the fire started from the living room and quickly spread throughout the building while the family was asleep. By the time they sensed danger, the inferno had already blocked all escape routes. Eyewitnesses say attempts by neighbors and other first responders to extinguish the flames failed. Residents lamented that officials of the Katsina State Fire Service arrived late and could not make any meaningful impact. The Gofar Saudi community woke up on Monday morning to the heartbreaking news, leaving residents in shock, grief, and confusion. The head of the household was my younger brother from the same father. The fire gutted the house around 3 a.m. I actually sensed something at that time, but didn't know what it was until I received a call around 4 a.m. informing me that my brother and his entire family had died in the fire. May their souls be admitted into Al-Jannah Firdausi.
Allah shi rahama.
I was at the mosque for early morning prayers when my mother called to inform me of the incident. I rushed to the house, and what I met was devastating. Muhammad, his wife, and their 3 children had all perished. I was reliably told that the fire started in the sitting room due to high electricity voltage. While some communities in Katsina have suffered unstable power supply for nearly a decade, others frequently experience voltage surges that damage appliances, problems residents attribute to official negligence and failing infrastructure. They say the situation calls for urgent government intervention in the areas of better coordinated emergency response systems and sustained public awareness campaigns to reduce the loss of lives and property during disasters. Abdullahi Ismail, Trust Television News, Katsina.
A very tragic incident there. We pray their souls rest in perfect peace. Amen. Now to other news. The Gombe State government has launched a new solar power initiative aimed at providing reliable electricity to healthcare facilities across the state. The project is designed to ensure that hospitals and clinics have stable power supply to improve healthcare delivery. From Gombe, Hassan Lawan Koli completes the report.
Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya, represented by his deputy, Manasseh Daniel Jatau, highlighted the importance of the project during the official launch. The governor commended the partnership between the European Union, the federal government and the state government, assuring that his administration remains committed to ensuring that the people of Gombe fully benefit from the project.
The coming of this intervention is precisely what we have been looking for. As a seasoned scholar that is interested in health and everything to do with health, I perceive this partnership between the European Union, the federal government, and some states, among which Gombe is one, as really hitting the nail on the right spot and at the right time. Virtually all the bottlenecks in the provision of satisfactory health care in Nigeria and indeed the other developing countries will be addressed by this collaboration.
He added that Gombe State has already fulfilled its financial obligation to the project by paying its 30% counterpart funding amounting to 1 billion naira. According to development partners, findings show that many health facilities in Nigeria struggle with inadequate power supply, noting that the initiative will provide over 300 kilowatt of solar power to at least 10 health facilities with added benefit for nearby small businesses.
What is important here is to stress that this is a new model, the model that combines the public service with commercial viability and sustainability and should be scalable. So what we start here, we would expect to grow much bigger with the participation of the private sector.
Is to help the state replicate similar microgrid projects in the future. Towards this end, we will share all technical designs and blueprints along with the sustainability model that this project is based on, so that the state can expand reliable energy solutions not only in health but also in education, water supply, and other sectors.
The project manager for energy and green economy assured that the initiative will succeed, citing the commitment of all stakeholders involved. This solar initiative is part of Gombe State Government's broader effort to embrace clean, affordable, and sustainable energy solutions to drive development across key sectors. Hassan Lawan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Now, over 40,000 people living with HIV in Adamawa State are currently receiving treatment, with about 93% achieving viral suppression. New infections have also declined significantly from 2,007 cases recorded between January and October 2024 to 1,267 within the same period in 2025. These figures were disclosed as the state marked the 2025 World AIDS Day. Trust TV's Gibson Sawadigo completes the report.
In 2024, Adamawa State recorded about 400 HIV-related deaths. Despite this, the state government has continued to make remarkable progress in its HIV response through strong political commitment, community mobilization, and partner support. With the efforts of the Adamawa State Agency for Control of AIDS at SACA and collaborating partners, HIV testing and treatment services have been expanded across all the 21 local government areas. The state has also strengthened prevention of mother-to-child transmission, improved coordination, and increased public awareness and service uptake.
Also experienced decline this year. Even in vertical transmission, there is a decline. Vertical transmission, that transmission between mother and child, that's a decline, and we need to maintain this gain. Therefore, we want to call on our workers to please double their efforts. As we are experiencing these cuts, there is need for us to step up to ensure that this program is sustained. We are having much support from the government and the governor of Adamawa State.
The state, however, faces several challenges affecting its HIV campaign, including insecurity, economic pressures, and supply chain disruptions that hinder service delivery and outreach. A stop work order issued by the United States government to certain donor-supported implementing partners also temporarily halted key donor-funded HIV activities. This created operational gaps across many states, disrupted supply chains, and strained coordination at both facility and community levels.
In Adamawa State, we have made meaningful progress as well. The government has continued to support HIV testing, treatment, and prevention programs through the ASACA and the State Ministry of Health. We have strengthened partnerships with civil society and community networks, ensuring that people living with HIV receive the care and dignity they deserve.
To sustain the HIV response, we must continue to strengthen our health systems, protect vulnerable populations, especially women, children, and young people, to ensure that no one is left behind.
Despite the disruption, the state government, through ATSACA, has procured 34,000 HIV syphilis dual test kits to cushion the shortage and ensure uninterrupted HIV testing services. Gibson Adugu, Trust TV News, Yola.
Now, away from Nigeria, the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, has refuted claim by the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, that it has seized control of the West Kordofan town of Musa. Sudan's military government said in a statement issued on Tuesday that it had repelled an attack by the RSF. The paramilitary outfit had claimed the previous day to have taken full control of Musa, a key city in the vast central Sudanese region of West Kordofan. Musa serves as a gateway to the Darfur region, over which the paramilitary force took full control last month, and the whole of Western Sudan. Videos released by the RSF on Monday showed its fighters taking an army base in Musa after a weeks-long siege. However, the SAF maintained it was still fighting in the city. And now in sport, Nigeria's under-15 boys kept their hopes of reaching the semi-finals alive after securing a hard-fought 1-0 victory over Benin Republic on Tuesday morning in their second group match of the African Schools Football Championship. The win came as a timely response to Nigeria's disappointing 4-1 defeat to Côte d'Ivoire in their opening game on Monday. Despite the victory, qualification for the semi-finals is not yet guaranteed, as a team must now wait for the outcome of the group's final match between Côte d'Ivoire and Benin Republic. Nigeria currently sits on 3 points with a goal difference of 3. Their path to the semi-finals depends on the following scenarios. If Côte d'Ivoire defeats Benin Republic, Nigeria will advance. If Benin Republic wins, they will qualify ahead of Nigeria on goal difference. If both teams play a draw, Nigeria will progress to the semi-final stage. The semi-final matches are scheduled for Wednesday, while the losers' final and championship match will take place on Thursday. And that's a wrap on News Hour. Do not forget to follow us across all social media platforms for more programs, news, and documentaries. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. Good night.